It's been a few days since I recorded something, and I thought it'd be a good idea to record something now, even though most of what's been going on in the last week has been outside of the realm of human capability of description. Let's just say it's been quite a few transcendent moments of deep, deep spiritual wisdom piled on top of each other, and I'm very grateful for that. But it doesn't make for very good YouTube content, at least not right now, where I can't really describe it very effectively. So I thought it'd be just kind of fun to talk about school stuff for a bit. And I also thought about giving another little tarot reading, because the last one was pretty meaningful. This one I think I'll try to keep a little bit more lighthearted. But while I talk, I'm just gonna shuffle to make sure it's truly random. Let's see. Monday had class. Tuesday was Veterans Day, so no class. And then Wednesday I had a quiz in my women in art class, and that was pretty fun because, as some of you might know, I was a janitor pretty recently, and so I became very used to feeling very comfortable inside classrooms, especially when there's no teachers present. And lucky for me, all my classrooms have been unlocked this week before class. And so on Wednesday, before my women in art quiz, which is about women artists from the 18th century, 19th century, some from the 20th century, and then some modern Latina artists. I let myself into the classroom like 45 minutes early, and my rule is that I only like use the school equipment for stuff that's relevant to the class. So I decided to put on some Internet Archive videos about like these artists like Carrie Mae Weems, I think one of them is called. And something really fun happened because I was just like chilling, watching videos, enjoying myself, drinking my mocha. And a couple minutes, I think a couple students came in before class started at 1, but they quickly went to the bathroom once they realized that something crazy was going on. A fellow student was using the projector and the teacher's computer. But then the teacher walked in, and she's this really sweet lady. I think a little bit ignorant of realpolitik and stuff like that, but she had the most wonderful reaction to me using the school equipment to present these videos about these women. She walked in and she got this big smile on her face, and she was like, "Oh, can I be a student for once? Or can I be a student for a few minutes?" And it was really cool. It was exactly the energy I needed to kind of just relax and enjoy the next hour and a half of this quiz. Because it's called a quiz, but really it's a test. Like, we write like a few essays. And the video was really nice. It was this black woman artist on a stage with a couple of fellow male black scholars, and and I'll link it below in the description so you can check it out. It's a really nice video. Basically, I guess I'll let you watch it. Watch it now, and then come back to this video if you don't want me to spoil it. I'll give you a second. But in this video, this woman gives a series of questions that she doesn't really need answers to, but she just wants to ask these questions to these fellow scholars and musicians. And then the musician on her right, who's a famous like jazz musician or something, starts playing a trumpet, a really beautiful trumpet, and the whole audience starts like clapping and enjoying the music. And then the woman artist stands up, kind of directs everybody to stand, and she starts dancing. And then she starts dancing with this really famous scholar who I totally forget his name. I feel terrible, but honestly I just spent 3 hours rewriting this thing for technical writing, so my brain's a little bit spent, forgive me. And they start dancing together, and it's really sweet. Older folks dancing, bridging different disciplines, visual media, dancing with scholarly work, and it was just great vibes all around, both in the video and in the classroom. So that was nice. And then we sat down and wrote answers to these specific questions about the quiz. The teacher had us write a sign at the top of the page that we promised not to cheat. And of course I was paying attention to what the other classmates were doing, because I can't help myself. And I swear this one guy, he got up 4 times in an hour and a half to go to the bathroom. And he would like take his jacket with him, and then like make this big show of taking it off and putting it back on the chair when he got back. And I think his like girlfriend went with him a couple times. And the teacher specifically said, like, leave your phones in the classroom when you leave, if you leave to go to the restroom. So these people, like 3 or 4 people, like were like blatantly cheating in front of the teacher. So I'm curious if she's like will do anything. I expect not, because there's not really any direct evidence, and I'm sure they'd raise a fuss with administration or something if she just like failed them. But if I was the teacher, I'd give him a 0 on the quiz and say I was not convinced they practiced academic integrity and honesty. I might not fail them in the class, but I'd give them a 0 on the quiz. They were obviously not at all prepared. The honest thing would be just to talk about what you do know, what you do remember, even if it's very little, and just take the bad grade and learn and use it to learn from. I don't think you're going to get very far in life if you have to resort to cheating on a women in art quiz at a community college. Oh yeah, and I wrote like 6 pages of like excellent art history analysis, which was like we were only supposed to do like a paragraph or 2 for each answer. There was like 4 questions, so I went a little bit over the top, but I've kind of already decided that I'm going to try to do graduate level work, even if I'm at the undergraduate level. So that was good. Maybe I'll make a video of that paper once I get it back. And then the next day I had economics in the morning at 9. And same thing happened. Classroom was unlocked. Went in half an hour early. Was watching a video about the Austrian School of Economics, because I've heard about it, but I didn't really know anything about it. And that led to another interesting and valuable interaction. A little bit different, but the teacher's really cool. I don't think he cared that I was using the equipment for school-related stuff. But I could tell that he does not agree with the Austrian School of Economics. The Austrian school is extremely laissez-faire. It believes in free market and I'm pretty sure my teacher thinks government intervention is necessary, which I disagree with, but that's all right. And then we had a pretty fun time in technical writing because we had to write these like technical instructions for simple things in class. We worked in groups, and our group tried to make instructions on how to write a smiley face on the board, on the whiteboard. And I was very thorough. I wrote for our group, and I made sure to include multiple like caveats for like, because the idea was we were trying to preemptively block people from misinterpreting our directions for vagueness. So I was very specific, and I was so specific, in fact, that I ended up giving the other groups, I think, massive headaches because my directions were very self-referential. So I would like reference previous steps, and I would like rewrite definitions multiple times in each step to make sure that they didn't misinterpret things as being a different kind of thing. So that was kind of hilarious. Another group did directions on how to do jumping jacks, and it was beautiful because they were so simple, and they were so hard to find loopholes with because it had to do with like the body, like plant your feet together, move your arms to the side, raise your arms like you're making a star. And that was actually the only loophole I found, that a star is not technically supposedly a 5-pointed thing. It's supposedly a sphere. But it was amazing how difficult it is to find loopholes when it has to do with your own body, because like you are part of your own body, so it's hard to think outside of that sphere. So that was interesting. Simplicity is key. That's a good philosophy to follow. Always keep it simple. And then today I went to my friend Shane's house to have him help me with peer review to see if the instructions I wrote for this project that we're doing were clear enough. And that was interesting. That was very interesting because I quickly realized that the instructions I wrote were just complete garbage, and they were way too long and it was just a terrible format. It was a terrible format. I had a bunch of pictures. I had a picture for each slide, 45 slides, and those pictures weren't even necessary in the end. So I think he spent like a good hour going through those with me, giving good recommendations on changes I can make. And then when I went home and I thought about presenting those instructions to 2 more friends and then to the classmates on Tuesday, I decided to just rewrite the whole thing. And so I just spent like 3 hours, or a good 2.5 hours, rewriting everything from scratch. I put it on 4 pages with just text, and it came out way better. It's publishable, in fact, probably once I revise it a bit. So that should be interesting. I think maybe I'll post that in the description too. Nah, not this time, but I might publish it and send it around to people who are interested. The instructions were how to TORRENT legally, as I might have mentioned in previous videos. By the way, this tarot deck is the most shuffled tarot deck I've ever used. Anything else I want to talk about right now? Oh yeah, I did some marketing for my job today as well. My boss closed the store because they were doing repairs in the basement. It was loud, so I didn't work in the store today. So she asked if I wanted to go around and passing out these flyers I made or putting up flyers in a few different dance studios and dance related places. The first place I went to, it was like a very nice modern studio, and I could tell that they probably didn't have a community board. But they were nice enough to accept one of the flyers once I told them that we gave a $10 discount to instructors. And I suggested an advertisement exchange, which was pretty smart because I think that helped a lot. And then the lady gave me some of her flyers. It was for the Northwest Dance Project studio on like 10th and Cooch or something. Beautiful studio. I might see if I can take some classes there. It looks nice. And then I try to go to the Oregon Ballet, which apparently is either moved or I was hallucinating back in the day because it is not next to OMSI. But that's fine because after that I went to Norse Hall, which I remember from my youth used to be, had a really beautiful ballroom. And that worked out really well because the two older people there knew who my boss was, knew what the business I worked for was. And they remembered my boss fondly, and they said that there was a dance event happening that weekend with 150 people, that I could totally post a flyer on the community board, and I could even put some on the tables. And thanks to that, I'm pretty sure I have 4 clients coming in on Sunday for a private appointment for dance shoe fittings. I think my boss is gonna help me before she goes back to Cali for a bit. So that's great. You know, if we make a sale for each of those, it's like $800. So that's pretty good. And then I went to Arthur Murray Dance Studios on Broadway, put up a flyer there in the restroom because they have a special arrangement with my boss. So that was cool. Another great dance studio. So yeah, it was a very productive day, very productive Friday. Tomorrow I'm going to put up more flyers. I'm also going to work 12 to 4. In the evening I have another peer review session with my friend Dare, hopefully. And I got to fit in Patrick's peer review, another Patrick, not me, sometime next couple days so I can turn in that report on Sunday. Sunday I have the 2 clients coming in at 2 p.m. Sorry, two pairs of clients, so 4 clients coming in. So I've been keeping busy, which is good. So let's do this tarot reading. Let's see, what should the question be? What's a good question? How about just, have I... Let's see. How about just how balanced are my chakras? Because they've been pretty darn balanced lately, but I'm not sure to what level. So I'm just curious what the cards will say about that. How balanced my chakras are. The first card is Ace of Discs. The second card is Adjustment, or the 8 of something. Was this Wands? I think it might be 8 of Wands. We'll find out. And then the Moon, or the 18th card of the Major Arcana. Interesting. Let's see what the book says. Once again, this is the Tarot Handbook by Angelis Arian. Ace of Discs. Okay. The Ace of Discs is success that is experienced both internally and externally. Internal success is represented by the 4 sets of angel wings, which represent the 4 levels of success in consciousness: mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. External success is represented by the coins within the coins and the crystals within the crystals in the center of the symbol. This card represents success that is manifested internally as well as externally. It reminds me of that the 4 of Cups from last week's reading. When you pull this card, it is an indication that you are no longer willing to support the dichotomy of experiencing internal success and not external success, or the other dichotomy of where you experience external success but not internal success. It's like exactly the same one as almost. It's very similar, but it's about success, not emotional fulfillment, right? When you pull this card, it is an indication that there is a sense of success that has manifested deep inside as well as externally. This symbol is the highest of the manifestation cards. It is the capacity to manifest or produce what you want in both internal and external worlds. The Ace of Discs represents the opportunity to experience internal and external success that's manifested equally within a year's time. It also indicates that this experience could manifest in the Earth sign months of Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus, or that there may well be an experience of internal and external success with Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo people in your life. Cool. I'm a Capricorn. The Ace of Discs symbolizes success that comes from being organized and centered internally and externally. When you draw this card, it's an indication that this gift of practical organization and manifestation is able to be used and drawn upon for the next 12 months. Alright. That seems like a positive affirmation of my chakras being in good shape. Adjustment. Let's see if we can find this bad boy. I think it's wands, right? Wands, maybe? Or is it a major arcana card? Oh, it is a major arcana card. It's this one. Also known as Justice. Okay, this symbol represents the universal principle of alignment and balance. Alright? In most tarot decks, this symbol is known as the Justice card, reflecting the principle of negotiation and truth. In the central portion of the symbol is a figure that stands in a diamond, having pierced the webbed veils of illusion, delusion, and deception. In Egyptian mythology, this central figure portrays Maat, the goddess of law, truth, and justice. This Egyptian goddess played an important part in the judgment of the dead. Either herself or her feather was placed in the scales opposite the heart of the dead person in order to test its truthfulness. In astrology, this symbol represents Libra, the scales. Within the scales are the Greek letters alpha, representing beginnings, and omega, symbolizing endings or completions. The principle of balance requires that whatever is initiated or begun, alpha, must be completed at some time, omega. The scales are also symbols of legalities, financial balance, and business acumen. The perfectly shaped circles or balloons are symbols representing formulated ideas or thoughts. This is the integrating, balancing, and synthesizing mind, which is often expressed through writing, research, and design. The Adjustment card is also the only card where the Ace of Swords appears on another symbol other than its own card. Here, the Ace of Swords is facing downward, symbolizing the application of creative ideas in tangible, useful ways. The Ace of Swords, in its own card, represents the inspired, creative, and original mind. Within the symbol, the Ace of Swords, their creative mind, is being directly applied and brought to earth in realistic and practical ways. That reminds me of the 2 sword cards from last week's reading. The 4 elongated pillars in the background of the card represent balance of health, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. The eyes of the figure are masked, symbolizing the ultimate guidance for balance, and staying within one's center comes from within. The eyes of the figure are masked, symbolizing that ultimate guidance for balance and staying within one's center comes from within. Like, it goes on, but I'm not going to read because a lot of it is like numerology and stuff, and I don't really want to get into it. But that seems pretty good. And let's look at the moon. The moon is the universal principle of choice-making and authenticity. Often the symbol is referred to as the karma card. Karma meaning work that needs to be done. The ultimate work to be done each day is to choose whether we will support our authentic self or support our false persona or dutiful self. Every day we are at the gates making choices about leaving old, known worlds or going through the gates to explore new worlds. The gates also represent the process of choosing either between our authentic expression or our false and dutiful expression. Choice has 3 functions. It is through choice that we can 1. Create new realities, 2. Sustain and maintain current realities, or 3. Release and let go of realities that no longer serve us. The guardians of the gate are the Ra kings from ancient Egypt, the sun gods who protect our life force and energy as we change and reclaim our authentic selves. The jackals, symbol of the Egyptian deity Anubis, are reminders that we must let go of the old in order to go through the gates and experience anything new. In addition, the Egyptian beetle or scarab represents Khepri, the Egyptian god of transformations. The scarab symbolizes he who becomes. Before him, the scarab rolls the ball of the sun, pushing it into the other world in the evening and over the horizon in the morning, as the scarab beetle pushes before itself a ball of dung. For the Egyptians, the scarab god represented the rising sun and symbolized the renewal of life and the idea of eternal existence. The moon is the astrological representative of the water sign Pisces. The 2 fish traditionally representing Pisces are symbolized here by the Anubis or jackal gods, serving as guardians of the gate, or symbols of the Piscean commitment to evolution and transformation. The moon is also the universal feminine principle. Its magnetic force upon the waters of the earth reminds us that the inherent power of our receptive nature is to open, expand, yield, and totally express our full power and nature like the moon. The moon reflects back to us the mystery of who we are, and in its relentless consistency in changing phases, it reminds us of those qualities which are inherent within our authentic natures. Whether we are male or female, the reclamation of the authentic self requires that we open, receive, and go inward. And, like the moon, it is essential to reveal ourselves without holding back or censoring ourselves in any way. The moon is the symbol most associated with romance. The moon reminds us that during romantic involvements we can see our potential dreams and visions, and yet, in romantic involvements we are challenged to truly be ourselves rather than to pretend to be other than who we are. This romantic state can be one of inspiration or illusion and deception. The moon reminds us that through our choices we can either reveal or conceal who we are and are not. So from that, I gather that, yes, my chakras are most likely more balanced than ever, and I agree, but there's still work to be done, and I'm looking forward to it.